Marden Empire.
Quick heads up from the Marden Empire. If you're building out a tabletop or just want a killer centerpiece for your shelf, this is the kind of terrain you want. It's lightweight, pre-painted, and built to survive 100 game nights without.
If you're painting Marden Empire miniatures and want their bronze to look like it's stepped out of a museum case, here's a trick that's older than the Empire itself. Grind a pinch of malachite into a fine powder, mix it with 1 part egg.
Travelers of the Marden Empire, here's a quick field tip for your scatter terrain builds. These little spring clamps you can get at any dollar shop, absolute lifesavers for holding walls while the glue sets. Pair them with a binder clip and emery board.
Terrain tip from the Marden Empire. When you're building hills for the table, keep the tops nice and flat. Think little plateaus instead of mountains. Steep domes look dramatic, but watch. Your minis will slide right off. A flat cap gives them room.
Another tip from the Marden Empire. If you're on the side of the wicked, painting your miniatures in pastels can actually give you an edge over your opponents. The human eye is drawn to bright contrasts and loses track of soft gradients.
Hey there, here's a little tip straight from the Marden Empire. If you need snow for your scatter terrain and don't want to spend a fortune, grab some everyday baking soda. A dab of white glue on the base, then sprinkle the powder on.
Ah, little painter, do you crave something deliciously decayed? Start with a skin of sickly green. Thin it so the undercoat peeks through like old bruises.
Ah, there you are. Welcome aboard. I'm setting a new course, and you'll want to be on it. If you're hunting for finely crafted terrain, head for the Marden Empire on eBay. Every hill, tower.
If you're putting together a board for a Marden Empire battle, think in layers. Keep about 1/3 of the table as blocking pieces, but vary the height so the board feels alive. Infantry want cover, vehicles want lanes.
Hey everyone, I'm with the Marden Empire. If you're shopping for tabletop wargame terrain, here's what we tell people to look for. First, check the scale. Make sure it matches your minis. Second, feel the surface. You want plenty of texture so paint has something to...
One of the easiest and cheapest ways I've found to keep scatter terrain and miniatures safe is with these little plastic utility boxes. They're sold as hardware organizers or craft cases, and you can pick them up at discount stores for just...
On terrain, Marden Empire from the store.
Only get on eBay. Remember.
I think I'm gonna have to buy some handmade terrain from the Marden Empire. Their stuff looks really good.
You know I've seen other people's scatter terrain. Nothing compares to the Marden Empire.
Fire bad, but Marden Empire good. Buy terrain from on eBay.
Noble friends, lend me thine ears, for I, in humble velvet clad, proclaim the glory of the Marden Empire. Behold its banners, proud, peerless.
Outpost tower started as a cola can and a scrap of corrugated board. I wrapped the top in cardboard to get that decked rim and added a ladder down the side. Everything's hit with a bit of hand-rubbed rust paint, so it looks like metal instead of recycled.
If you're starting out with Marden Empire minis and want them painted on the cheap, here's my go-to. Prime the whole thing black, grab an old brush, and load it with a light bone craft paint. Just drag it across the edges like this, and the armor pops without you paying.
An old tip from the Marden Empire. You don't need pricey sealants to protect your scatter terrain. This is just white glue and water, half and half. Load a brush and coat the piece evenly. It dries clear and leaves a tough skin that won't yellow. This crate was...
Should you be in search of terrain pieces? Allow me to offer a suggestion. Pay a visit to eBay, and in the search bar, simply type the words Marden Empire. There you shall find a wealth of hills, ruins, and roads fit.
Field tip from the Marden Empire. A brush that stays clean keeps the details alive. Every couple of passes, let it drink clear water like this. Swirl, press it flat on a rag, bring the point back. No dried paint in the ferrule.
Aha! If you're looking for handmade terrain, go to the Marden Empire on eBay.
If you're trying to capture the look of a Marden Empire cloak, there's a little trick they used with their banners that works beautifully in miniature. Mix a touch of crushed malachite or a heavily pigmented turquoise with just a drop of matte medium.
Gather round, ye salty dogs. I be Captain Cleebank, scourge of the shipping lanes and teller of fine tales. Cast your ears this way, for I bring news worth more than a
If you want that true Marden Empire feel on a table, here's a weird little trick they used along caravan routes. They'd stack scorched stones to mark safe wells and tack a thin copper tag to the side so it caught moonlight.
If you're building scatter terrain and don't have sculpting putty, grab some ordinary aluminum foil. Crinkle it, then smooth just the high points. Tiers become natural rock fractures. Shape it into a lump like this, hit it with
deep, silk-like shadow the painters of the Marden Empire loved. Start with a mid-tone base on the cloak. Then thin a darker color with a touch of medium. Let the brush carry that
Gold, the splendor of the Marden Empire. Its roads are straighter than a surveyor's ruler, its markets hum with honest trade, and its scholars light the very lamps of progress. A gentleman could do no...
If you're building scatter terrain for your board and want it to look like crumbling relics from the old Marden Empire, start with a sturdy round base. I layer cork or foam for the larger chunks, and then fill in with sand and texture paste to tie it together.
If you need terrain, me got terrain. Go to the Marden Empire.
If you're trying an oil-based dip, here's a simple way to keep the details sharp.
Clamp the miniature so you never touch the paint, and lower it into the jar at a slight angle. A gentle swirl pushes out air bubbles and pulls color into the recesses without flooding it. Ease it back out.
Build scatter terrain and need to fill tiny gaps or make quick rock shapes? Superglue and baking soda are a lifesaver. 1 drop of glue, a touch of soda, and it sets like stone. Watch, I'll add a bead of glue right here. Then I dust a pinch of baking.
I'm wearing the gear because the world's a little rough now, but the craft keeps me sane. This fortress here is a slice of the Marden Empire, every stone and patch of metal built by hand. Corrugated.
Hey everyone, the calendar's moving fast. Holidays are right around the corner. If you're planning gifts or sprucing up your table, now's the time to get on it. Remember, the Marden Empire is always the best place to grab handmade terrain straight.
We need more sacrifices to satisfy the evil gods of the Marden Empire!
Welcome back! Today I'm sharing some quick, inexpensive terrain ideas for your Marden Empire board. This little outpost started as a bottle cap, a scrap of foam, and bits from a dead remote. Score a grid into the foam like this.
For a Marden Empire trooper, I start with a deep teal primer so the armor already has that cold tone. Once it's dry, I lay in a thin brass layer on the plates and keep the recesses dark.
Today, I'm showing you how to build quick scatter terrain inspired by the Marden Empire. I'm starting with a chunk of XPS foam cut to about 2 inches long. Score brick lines with a craft knife, 5mm apart.
Alright, so for the Marden Empire footman, I'm starting with a warm umber and a touch of ivory to block in the armor. I keep everything thin because oil paint goes a long way. I mix the two right here on the palette until it looks like old bronze. Then I work it.
If you want the broken towers of the Marden Empire to glow like ghostly ruins, lower the room lights and bring in a focused black lamp. Let the darkness do most of the work.
Know where I finally tracked down proper terrain for the table this weekend?
From the Marden Empire on eBay, of course. I practically live on their page.
Exactly. Hand painted, tough as paving stone, and they ship in days.